Taxes and the cost of utilities are simply way too high. Young families like mine struggle every day to make ends meet. We're losing businesses and talent to other states. We have no long-term vision of where as a state we want to go. The politicians in Hartford, we hear it day in and day out, especially now that they're in session. They shrug and they exclaim, oh, well, we're the land of steady habits. It's a feeble attempt to distract from their own failures. Our state is stagnant because our leadership is stagnant. Like Connecticut today, the city of New Britain, I inherited 12 years ago. When I took office 12 years ago, the city was also seeming lost, it was stuck in neutral, and it was drifting into decline. We were dangling perilously from a fiscal cliff. Community pride was non-existent. Downtown was an economic dead zone. You couldn't even find a place to get a cup of coffee in downtown New Britain. Vagrant activity and public drug use were stifling investment and development, and mismanagement from failed leadership was obvious. We were on the verge of a state takeover of our finances. We were the punchline of everyone's jokes across the state of Connecticut, and not anymore. Not anymore. 12 years later, you look around, because through common sense and conservative leadership, we stood up, we fought back, we won, despite being outnumbered politically 4-1 Democrats to Republicans in registration. We've lowered taxes, we've closed a $30 million operating deficit, we led the transformation of downtown New Britain, fostering nearly $330 million in new development. $330 million in private development happening in downtown New Britain right now. We invested over $600 million in new and improved school facilities. We increased funding for school education. We rebuilt our infrastructure and our parks to the tunes of hundreds of millions of dollars. We successfully battled and continue to battle addiction and homelessness. We created a model for the state that the state looks at and utilizes, all while leaving taxpayers a tidy $34 million reserve, and that is just some of our wins. I could stand here for an hour and talk about all of them. But exploring a run for governor may seem daunting, but I know that I'm ready for this fight because I've won this fight before, right here in New Britain. The residents of Connecticut shouldn't have to settle. They deserve real results, and I have a proven track record of delivering them. And let me tell you, this fight is deeply personal to me, okay? As a working mother of 2 little ones who are not here today because you don't want a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old screaming for mom when I'm doing this, but I'm a working mom of 2 little ones. I want to leave my children a future that's secure and in a state that they can be proud of and in a state that they want to stay in. How many of us know our kids and our friends? What do? They go out of state, they never come back. See you later. They're going to college in Massachusetts or New York or down south, and they don't come back. Connecticut is not a place that they want to stay. Why? Why is that? And what are we going to do to change that? I'm part of the working class that the Capitol insiders have forgotten about. They have forgotten about Connecticut's working class, and that's why I'm doing this. Someone just like all of you who are struggling to afford groceries, to pay their crazy electric bills, who's shaking their head at the unchecked and reckless spending by Democrats and those in charge in Hartford. It's personal for me. Because as a mayor, I see and I hear all these people in my community who are hurting because they can't pay their taxes or they can't make ends meet. And I say that coming from a household of 2 people who do pretty decent. When we're looking at having these conversations, my husband and I, about paying an inordinate amount of money for childcare and looking at how much groceries cost every week and what can we cut back on, there's a problem here, a huge problem. Together we can change that. We can leave behind that dogmatic label of the land of steady habits and bring about real change that will help Connecticut reach her full potential. We can and we will lift up all people of this great state and win for everyone in Connecticut, not just some and not just our friends. Connecticut will be stronger when we openly embrace opportunity, when we celebrate economic mobility, when we free ourselves from the restraints of overtaxation and strangling regulations. Connecticut will be stronger when we give people a reason to invest here, when the spirit of individualism, personal liberty, and entrepreneurship is unleashed. Connecticut will be stronger when we chart a vision for real growth and actively plan for our limitless future. It's all possible. But we have to bring a new generation of leadership to the hallowed halls of Hartford to make it happen. And let me tell you what a new generation of leadership means. It is the same slogan that I used the first time that I ran for mayor in 2013, and ironically enough, it applies now for this next step in my career. A new generation of leadership means strength and decisive action. A new generation of leadership, to everyone in this room who knows me, knows a little brashness, straight talk, but definitely telling the truth. Right? A new generation of leadership means breaking up the good old boys club in Hartford and setting an agenda that actually works for working people. A new generation of leadership means delivering real, tangible results for the citizens of Connecticut. And a new generation of leadership means lowering taxes, cutting the cost of utilities, and making Connecticut affordable.
Yes.
So this is just the beginning. And as I set out over the next couple of months during this exploratory process, I'm taking my case and my vision to every corner of this great state, listening to people like you about where Connecticut should be headed in its future, a future we can build together and all be proud of. I've made a name for myself of listening to people in this community. I've never been afraid to hear people, to listen to what they have to say, and I think it's about time that our statewide leaders do that too.
Yes.
I'm holding back coughing because I just got over the flu last week, so sorry. But this is going to be a long process, and for good reason, right? Slowly, meticulously, steadily, we're going to build this exploratory effort into a vehicle that can potentially deliver the decisive win that the people of Connecticut need and that they deserve. And so to do that, so today, announcing the exploratory committee, setting an ambitious goal of raising $350,000. And I'm obviously going to need all of your help, your family's help, your friends' help to reach that milestone. I need you to not only be supportive of the effort, but to fundraise, to coordinate, to spread the message, to volunteer, to do all that you can, spreading this message on your social media, through your people-powered channels too, because without you, this won't happen. This is absolutely going to be a people-powered effort. I don't have the means to finance my own campaign, to write a check for millions of dollars to do this. A pure people-powered effort. And I'm looking forward to the next several months as I explore my viability, and I hope to make a decision whether to launch a full candidate committee sometime in the fall. But that decision is absolutely predicated on the success of this exploratory effort. But since the news of today's announcement kind of got out, I've been absolutely inundated with messages of support. And to all of them, I have to say this. If you think that I have what it takes to lead the state to a brighter future, show me. Show me by sharing. Show me by tweeting. Show me by making that contribution. I want people to invest in Connecticut once again, and I'm asking my supporters to invest in me to help get us there. So, ErinForCT.com. I think it's right there on the sign that you can't really see. Sign up, get involved. You can show me and my team that we have the necessary support to take the next step. We're doing Citizens Election Program funding, so that means the maximum individual contribution is $375 per person. So we have limitations, which means that we've got to find about 1,000 of our best friends to donate that max. But I think we could do it. I know we can do it.
Yes.
I know we can do it. You know, yes. Everyone here knows well that I'm a proud New Britain girl. I'm the daughter of a retired firefighter, a retired state worker. My husband's a public works guy. I was called to public service myself. Where's Dom? He's in there somewhere. Hi. You know, unlike nominees of the past and governors, I can't just write that check myself. This effort certainly does need to be fueled by everyone. And for a long time, we've ran this thing here in New Britain on loyalty and love, and that's what it's going to do. That's what it's going to take to get us there. This is going to be a true grassroots effort that isn't fueled by special interests or just a few millionaires. And from the support and encouragement I've received already, we absolutely have what it takes. I know we're going to get there. I feel good about this. I want to thank all of you for being here today. I'm so excited to be making this announcement. Your support and your encouragement mean the world to me. Now I need you to encourage 10 of your friends too. Connecticut's new generation of leadership is reporting for duty today, and I'm ready to do this. happy to take a couple of questions. I know, don't all bombard me at once. Hold on, let me close this up.
Erin,
I'm
so
ready.
you're going to use this to raise qualifying contributions.
Yes, sir.
For public funds. So that, all right, you're going to limit yourself because you, as you know, you can.
Yep.
Okay. And
We have to. I don't see any other way without participating in a citizens election program. I think that this is what CEP was for, right? To level the playing field for people like me who can't self-finance. And it's certainly an uphill battle, but I did it before in 2018 when I ran. It takes a long time, and I think that's why I had to make sure that I'm giving myself the longest runway possible to be able to do that. But it's, we'll get there.
so there are changes in the law.
Yes.
And if you take the next step, how early would you go for that pre-convention grant, which is something like 800 grand? So I mean, again, the rules have changed significantly.
So what the $350,000 that we want to raise in this exploratory effort will get us from now to convention. We've built that out. We're not paying people a lot. I have a lot of it is built on volunteers and not paying outside interests who are not from Connecticut to tell us what we think is best for our state. And I think my team and I have been around enough where I think we know how this state functions and we know what the people of the state want, and that's a huge savings in the budget that we've built out. But it's a bare bones effort.
So, Erin, what specifically would you do differently than Netherlands?
Everything.
I mean, we've heard a lot of, we've heard sort of a lot of general promises, but like, where specifically do you think he's failed?
I think today is, this is about exploring my viability for a candidacy. Look, I have a lot of differences from Ned Lamont. I am an administrator here. I have a successful record of running a government, something that he certainly didn't have. I have a successful track record of listening to people and hearing them and making changes based off of what my constituency wants. I feel that we've been ignored for a long time. One of the basic things that I need to do, or that I would do differently than him, is just hear people and be responsive to them and talk to them. Ned has a lot of happy-go-lucky ideas. None of them have worked. Right? We remember when he came out of the field and he was like, what's the first thing Ned Lamont was going to do when he elected governor? And he said, well, I'm going to institute tolls. How did that work out for him? Right? Didn't work. Then he got lucky. COVID happened. Well, COVID's over. And now it's time for a new generation of leadership.
So Erin, follow up though. How much, I mean, he hasn't decided if he's going to run.
No, he hasn't. Right.
So how much of a factor is that in your decision?
I am not afraid of Ned Lamont. I wouldn't be doing this if I were. I know and I feel confident that the message that we have here and the people that we have behind us are going to propel us forward to change the game for this state. Whether he decides to do it or not does no bearing on where I go from here. But the success of the exploratory effort that we have today certainly will be the determining factor of that. That's for sure.
The governor is at odds with elements of his own party regarding his, call it fiscal centrism, however you'd like to call it. But he has been defending the fiscal guardrails. There is pressure now to at least loosen the volatility cap to allow some needs to be met. What's your take on the intertwined caps, the spending cap, the volatility cap, the revenue cap?
Listen, I think that the successes that we're hearing about in the state budget and the money that we have in the coffers are only because of those caps that have been instituted, except for the $370 million that we magically found underneath the couch cushion in the governor's mansion. Like, what? Anyways, those caps are the only reason of why we're performing and why we're doing well. Any effort or any attempt at changing those or getting rid of them encourages future legislative abuse with the cast of characters that's in charge now, and I don't think that that's a good idea because guardrails alone have been responsible for Connecticut performing better. I think that they've worked. They're having a positive impact on the budget. But we do have some serious things to talk about. We have one of the highest unfunded pension liabilities in the country, and we have to keep guard on that. How else are you going to continue paying that down? The money that we magically found in ARPA interest is just proof that, who's mining the store. Those guardrails have to stay in place. Governor Lamont is going to have a hard time with his own party who want to loosen those guardrails and spend money. And he's got a rough road ahead of him, especially this session, because there's going to be a lot of back and forth. And I gather that he's going to upset a lot of his own people, and I'm sure that will impact his decision-making this summer.
But you back him on that position he's taken, it sounds like. You agree?
To protect the guardrails, yes. It's a good decision.
Mayor, Connecticut saw a rightward shift in the vote for president this past election.
A little bit.
A little bit. Well, I wanted to know,
Yeah.
that is directional. Do you find that encouraging?
Yeah, I do.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I do. It's encouraging. It was a surprise. I don't think that I expected Connecticut to shift more to the right than what we had before. But I think that that's just indicative of people being tired of not being able to afford their bills. And I think that's a direct correlation to the financial issues that individuals and that families are facing.
And how do you feel President Trump is doing so far in his second term?
Well, he's not doing anything that he didn't say he was going to do. But you want to talk about electing somebody who says they're going to do something and actually does it? We knew what we were getting when he won. We knew that everything that's happened in the last week, all the executive orders, we knew that was going to happen because he's the type of leader who says he's going to do something and does it. He doesn't waffle. And I'm that same type of leader. I've done that here time and time again, and I'm proud of it.
Are you of the moves that the president's been making the last week? Because the governor has come out pretty strongly against, his immigration push.
He's not doing anything that he said he was not going to do.
But
this can't become as a surprise.
What do you think about it? Do you support what he's doing is the question.
Yes.
He's totally good.
No, we're not going to go down the Donald Trump rabbit hole now. I said yes. I voted for him 3 times, and I'm happy to say that I did.
Good for you. Temporarily has closed off federal funding to cities like New Britain, as well as a wide rash of programs. And to be honest, we're still trying to figure out the meaning of that memo. But
right, so if we don't know, then I'm not going to comment on it.
Okay, have you have people analyzing and trying to figure out what's the impact on New Britain?
Sure, I'll read it later.
Okay.
Would it be bad, though, if he cuts off billions of dollars for states? Would that be bad for Connecticut? Which is what he's doing.
We don't know that yet. If I haven't read the memo and we don't know, and you guys are all telling me you're not sure, then we don't know that yet, so we'll move on to the next question.
What do you think he's doing?
In 2018, you ran for governor. What did you learn from that experience, and what are you going to change this time around?
So I've learned a ton from that experience. In 2018, I got in the race really late. And you think about how many years ago that was and what you've learned from that experience. I got in the race late. I was one of a dozen or so candidates. I struggled to raise the money. And I think that's one of the reasons why I have to announce this exploratory effort today, because I need that long runway for the fundraising efforts. But I also know the battles that are going to come ahead with my own party. There's certainly going to be other Republicans that are going to throw their name in the hat, and that's fine. My job right now is to prove that I'm the best candidate to put forward to defeat Ned Lamont and the Democrats. And my battle right now is to prove to the Republicans that I'm their gal. All right. Thank you, guys. I'm ready for the summer. I'm ready for this. I'm going to go say hi to all my friends now.